You want to buy the very best tire you can, and that's how I looked at it. I want to buy the very best tire I can. This is the one. Here's the thing with nomads. Most of us are boondockers. We're spending a lot of time in deep nature. That means dirt roads, big rocks and big potholes, and they eat these tires up. They eat up standard road tires. Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today I want to talk about tires for the Nomad. Over the years, this has been a big deal to me. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get a flat, that's a pretty big deal, and that has happened to me. And so I think your choice of tires is really, really important. And pretty regularly, people write me or ask me or email me or something and say, Bob, what kind of tires should I get? So we're going to kind of go broadly over all the tires and everything you need to know that factors into that decision. If you're in a small car, this is my Subaru, then the tire I recommend is a Falken, F-A-L-K-E-N. This is a Subaru Forester, and Subaru came in and they have created the crossover market, and that's really huge. So it's half SUV and half car. The Subaru is like 3/4 car and 1/4 SUV, but your Jeep is making a lot of rigs that are like 3/4 SUV and 1/4 car. And so that is a huge market that was underserved. And so Falken came in and met that market, and they met it super well. And so this is the Falken Trail. Now they make the entire lineup. They make the Trail, the all-terrain, and the mud tire. And so those are three different steps of aggressiveness. With a car, you don't want a really aggressive tire because they get heavy. Heavy is super important. With cars, you don't want a heavy tire because that means there's more rolling weight. Weight on the tire is worth like 10 to 100 times more than the weight in the trunk. You know, it's really important. You'll lose gas mileage, you'll get extra wear and tear on the suspension components, steering components, even the drivetrain. So you want a light tire. So this is the Trail. It's pretty light. It's a little heavier than stock, but not much. Far better tire. The number one tire, you're going to spend the money and you're going to get the very best tire you can, is the BFGoodrich KO3. Now the KO3 just came out, and if you can find the KO2, it's every bit as good a tire, and it might be a little cheaper, so buy it. KO2, KO3, doesn't matter. Fantastic tire. I believe it's the best. It's the best tire you can buy. A similar example is the Cooper Discoverer. Now it's an excellent, excellent tire. And the Discoverer has a whole line from kind of non-aggressive to really, really deeply aggressive off-road tire. And you can pick the one out that works for you. And I'll show you here in a minute. That's what I've got on my Ambulance. And they're a great tire. They're a little less money. And the one I have on the Ambulance, for example, is 280. Now, it's a pretty good sized tire because it's a 1-ton Ambulance. But 280 is still a pretty good price, and it's probably going to beat anything you can get on a BFG. Now, these are all prices on Amazon, and I'm putting up the screenshot so you can see. Surprisingly, Amazon's a great place to buy tires. You get the tire, they'll just ship it right to you wherever you are, and any shipping place will take them. And then you go find a local shop that will mount and balance, and you're done. And I really like doing it that way. It's a good way to go. And so now let's look at if you are going to be in snow country, and you're going to be in it often enough that you want to buy an all-weather tire. Now, there's all-season tires, which is, they are not really snow tires. They will do in a pinch in snow and ice, but that's not what they are. All-weather tires it's a kind of a whole new category that's come out, and it is specifically designed for some severe snow and winter weather. So an all-weather tire is a really good choice, because it will handle pretty darned well on the road. It won't be as noisy. It'll be lighter than any of these tires we're talking about. And the tire that I recommend in that class, it's the Michelin Cross Climate 2. I bought a set of those and put it on my little Scion that I drove to Alaska and left there, because it might very well be driving in severe winter weather. Now, when it comes to winter weather, you always think it's the tread that matters. And it does matter. It's very important. The siping, the depth of the tread, all that's important. However, when it comes to cold weather, snow and ice, it's the compound of the tire, the rubber in the tire, that makes the most difference. And an all-weather tire is designed with a compound that will get you the best possible traction on ice and snow. You make some sacrifices. They're going to not quite ride as well. They won't handle as well. They'll do rain really well, and they may not get as long a life. Now, the Michelin Cross Climate 2 is an exception. It does everything super well, including superb under extreme winter conditions. Now we're going to go through all the discussion of why those are the best tires for each class. So we'll start here with a Subaru because the smaller vehicle is more sensitive to the tires. Subaru designs this car to go into the backcountry. It's not a Jeep. They know it's not a Jeep. They're not trying to make it a Jeep. There are people that try to make these things Jeeps and it doesn't really work. But I just spent 3 months in Alaska and I drove on a lot of really bad roads and it was just beating the car up and the tires up, and I was so glad I bought these tires. Why? Let me give you an example on this particular Subaru. I bought this new in September 24, and by March of 25, I had 2 flat tires. Why? I hadn't had 2 flat tires in the last I hadn't had any flat tires in the last 20 years. Tires are so good, they just don't go flat. I don't understand why I had 2 of them. And they were perfectly good tires. There was nothing wrong with the tires. They didn't buy a cheap Chinese tire. It was a good name brand. What was it? Yokohama. It had a good Yokohama tire on it. Well rated. I looked it up. But I'd had 2 flats, and I don't like getting flats because I'm out in the middle of nowhere when I get them, and either I've got to change them, or if I only have a donut on this dumb thing. And so what happens if my donut fails on the way out? Here's the thing with nomads. Most of us are boondockers. We're spending a lot of time in deep nature. That means dirt roads, bumpy, holy, twisty dirt roads with big rocks and big potholes, and they eat these tires up. They eat up standard road tires. That's why before I drove to Alaska, they were still perfectly good. I think I had 20,000 miles on the car then. I took them down and bought these Falkens. So this is a tire I recommend most for lighter cars, Jeeps and below. This is the Falken WILDPEAK Trail. WILDPEAK is kind of their trade name for this series of tires, and the Falken WILDPEAK Trail is highly, highly recommended. I just think this is the tire for most of your crossovers. Now here's the big thing, and why you get flats, is because the sidewalls on street tires are very light duty. They have no extra protection. The sidewalls you'll get a lot of your failures. Now, if you run over a screw or a nail or a big piece of glass, everything's going to get flat. You can't avoid that. Although the thicker the tread, the better off. And so this is a much thicker tread than most street tires. So that helps. But the big thing is when you're going back off-road, and even I'm just talking about normal dirt roads, you'll hit sidewalls, will hit big rocks, and they'll puncture the sidewall. So the big thing about all these trail and all-terrain and mud tires is an extra heavy-duty sidewall. That's why I buy them. They're just going to last much longer under abusive conditions than any street tire. And one of the things I like most about these is this extra tread. And you're going to see that all the tires we're going to look at today have this, a little tread that goes down here. The reason is, and you think, well, that's up there so high, that can't do any good. Yes, it can. If you air these tires down enough, they will kind of flatten out. And then this tread will actually fall down into the dirt, the sand, the mud. That's where these really pay off. In the West, there are a lot of mountain passes, and almost all of them will have a sign posted, chains required, must carry chains. Now there's an exception to that. If you have a snow-rated tire and an all-wheel drive, you don't have to carry chains. So that was a big part of my decision. No street tire is going to be snow-rated. And so the tire industry has come out with something they call the 3 Peaks Snowflake. But on these tires, they have the 3 Peaks emblem, and in the middle of it is a snowflake. That means this tire is rated for extreme snow conditions. And so with this tire on an all-wheel drive car, I can go without chains. There are times when you have to have chains. You just absolutely have to chains, no matter what, every vehicle. And if you're towing, you always have to have chains. The exception is with four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and snow peak tires. If it's so bad they can't go, they'll just close the road. And so it's almost never a problem. I just assume I don't have to carry chains. I can drive in almost on every road under every condition with this setup. And so that was very important to me. Now let's look at the BFG. So this is a friend's 3/4 ton truck. She is running BFG KO3s on it. This is the KO3. And whenever I had a van, every van I've ever had, I put KO3s on it. I had them on the ambulance as well. And the last time, and they came out with I had KO2s. KO3 came out and they became a little hard to find. They got in between. And so when I had to replace my last set of KO2s, I couldn't find them. I literally could not find them. And so I bought a Cooper Discoverer, and we're going to look at that. It's as good a tire as this, close to as good as a tire as this. I don't think I would say it was as good a tire as this, but it's going to be a little bit cheaper. And Cooper is a great name. And so whatever tire you're looking at, look at a Cooper, because it is a superior tire at a little bit budgeter price, a little cheaper. And so I really highly recommend the whole Cooper line, whatever tire you're buying, that you consider it. You know, this is top tier. There's nothing better than this as far as I'm concerned. So what stands out and why people really love these things is this super aggressive sidewall tread here. And if you ever have to air it down, you get stuck, you're in sand or mud, the first thing to do before you bury yourself in it, don't dig holes. If you start to spin, stop, go out, air down to at least half, and then after that you can keep going. These tires, this is probably an 80-pound tire, and it can probably go down to 20 pounds. This is a great tire. This is my #1 recommendation. If you want to buy the very best tire you can, and that's how I looked at it, I want to buy the very best tire I can, this is the one. It is snow peak rated, the tire industry recognizes this tire at extreme weather snow capability. And so with this tire and a 4-wheel drive, you don't need chains. So this is the last tire we're going to look at that I have, and it is the Cooper Discoverer ST Max. It is a mud and snow rated tire. It has the emblem M&S right here. That's mud and snow. And it's a very aggressive tread. It has really good solid sidewalls here, real aggressive biting on the sidewalls. And this one has holes and has good siping. That's the main thing that makes a tire mud and snow, snow rated, is the siping. This has quite a bit of siping. And this one has little holes drilled into the tread for studs. That means you can stud this tire. Cooper's a great tire at a little bit lower price. So I think we have covered tires probably in more detail than you would ever have wanted to know. And again, let me mention again the Michelin Cross Climate 2. Perfect tire. If I lived in Alaska, that's the tire I would own. I think my Falken is that Falken WILDPEAK trail does all of them really well, none of them great. That's why I'm recommending the Falken WILDPEAK to you. It does super on the highway. I have no complaints. I haven't been in mud and snow, so I can't really answer. But with that 3-peak rating, I'm 100% confident. And I've driven a lot of really bad dirt roads, and some mud and snow, and it's done really, really well. So that is still my #1 recommendation. The whole gamut of tires. That's what you got to look at for most of us as nomads, because we might be in the whole gamut of tires. Falken WILDPEAK, either the trail or the ATs or the MTs, great tires. All right, we've talked a lot about tires. So if you got anything out of this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. I think it really helps us if you do. And give it a like, a thumbs up. And if you do, I'll be very, very grateful. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.